All right, so here we go with another G.I. Joe classified unboxing, and this is David L. Bazooka Katzenbogen. So we're gonna have fun with this. I did previously open up, and I don't know. Thought I had him around here somewhere. Yeah, there he is. He's on some other stuff. I did previously open up on this channel the Tiger Force version of Bazooka, who for some reason I'm missing his helmet, so I just popped Roadblock's helmet on there. But he came with a red helmet, and I do have another one over there that I got for cheap during Amazon's Black Friday sale of GI Joe figures. They had a few good ones for cheap, and this was one of them. So he was not as cheap as the other Tiger Force figure I've got, but I still saved about $5 on this one, so that's good. I definitely wanted to get around to getting this guy. I kind of been sleeping on him a little bit, but even though I had the Tiger Force version and thought he was pretty cool, I still wanted to get that classic version, with the red jersey. So you got to represent the old school, right? I got to represent the old school anyway. Got a really cool picture of him on the back there. Here he is with a layout of all the accessories. And this is a somewhat older figure. Like I said, he came out like a few years back. It seems like it wasn't that long ago. I don't think it was maybe like a year ago. But he came out in the same wave as I believe Falcon and CoverGirl and Outback. And I only got so much money to spend on these things, so I took a pass on Bazooka for a little bit, and I figured I'd pick him up later. And here we are later, and I picked him up. So got some nice artwork on the front here. I actually really like this artwork quite a bit. It was the same artwork on the Tiger Force version, only they had the jersey and other parts of the uniform colored differently. But since that was more of the style of box they were doing at the time with the window in the front, there wasn't as much room to show off this artwork. And it's a big, kind of ridiculously cartoony, exaggerated illustration of Bazooka. But I feel like that fits the character. He's supposed to be a big, larger than life kind of character in that way. I mean, he's going into battle wearing a football jersey. What does that tell you? So I pulled up the file card from the original figure, so we can go over the file card real quick. And it says Missile Specialist, codename Bazooka, file name David Katzenbogen, or Katzenbogen, comma David L. Serial number 112400577. Primary military specialty armor defeating weapons systems. Secondary military specialty tank driver. Place of birth Hibbing, Minnesota. Which, even though he's from Minnesota, he's a big Patriots fan. And I believe that the number on the logo is a reference to a specific Patriots player that was very popular up in New England. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but any sports fan in the comments who wants to weigh in on what that particular Patriots name was, feel free to do so. I could look it up right now, but I've got an action figure to talk about, and I'm already reading a file card. So anyway, Bazooka was driving an Abrams tank in the 3rd Horde, 3rd Armored Division, when he came to the realization that an illiterate farmer armed with a $200 disposable rocket launcher could knock out $1 million tank in less than 2 weeks training. He put in a transfer immediately. Training, Advanced Infantry School, Fort Benning, Armor School, Fort Knox, Qualified Expert, Dragon Anti-Tank Missile, Milan System, Law Rocket, that's LAW Rocket, Recoilless Rifle, Law System, and all Warsaw Pact RPG systems. Subject is also an EOD, Explosive Ordnance Disposal, qualified up to the TAC Op category. And here's something for you cartoon fans. Subject is a decisive, fast thinker with all the instincts of a natural survivor. So not quite the doofus that he's portrayed as on the cartoon series. Fudgies! Yeah, so kind of the exact opposite of that, in fact. I don't remember too much of Bazooka in the comic book. I know he made a few appearances, but I don't think they ever really did too much with him on that. and I think he did get a lot more exposure on the cartoon, but maybe to the character's detriment. I don't think people realize that he's supposed to be a smart guy, according to the file card. And me, like I say the file cards are the ultimate canon because that's the canon that actually came with the action figures. And of course, the file cards were written by Larry Hama, who wrote the G.I. Joe comic book. So here is a look at Bazooka now that we have him out of the package, since he is that plasticless package. And we can see it's like the really old plasticless package where they even had paper ties on the back rather than rubber tabs. I like paper ties better than rubber tabs. That's just me. And then the file card, David Bazooka Katzenbogen. Very unusual last name. Larry liked to give these characters unique names, help them stand out. I think made it so also you didn't have to worry about legal finding too many people who had the same name. You got names like Tormod J. Skoog, things like that. So here is Bazooka's Bazooka. It's not really a bazooka; it's an RPG, but it's one of those things where when the first wave of G.I. Joe action figures came out, you had the Bazooka soldier called Zap, and even at that time, bazookas were kind of outdated technology. They weren't really being used anymore, and it was really more about RPGs even at that time. And I think they had another bazooka soldier planned, and by this point Larry had enough clout to be like, hey, you know what, no, we're not doing this. You're making bazooka soldiers basically because your little green army men had bazooka soldiers, but they were supposed to be World War II soldiers. These are supposed to be state-of-the-art 1980s military characters. Give them an RPG. I'll call the character Bazooka if you want. I'm pretty sure that's the conversation that would have happened. So here's his helmet. This is what the helmet looked like on the Tiger Force version, for those of you who hadn't seen that video, except for that one was red for some reason, and this one is olive drab green. A bit more fitting of a color for a helmet, if you ask me. But even still, I wish I hadn't lost that Tiger Force helmet. It must have just gotten misplaced while I was moving. But I will, since I have a replacement, I'll keep better track of that one, hopefully. And I believe that's all the... I notice there's a hole in the bag, in the little paper envelope, so I'm hoping nothing fell out. It looks like all 4 missiles are here, so we'll set those aside. And then there's the end of the RPG, which has got a little peg, and there's a little hole here, so that'll plug together. That's how we put that together. All right. And you can put the missiles into the, you can actually put them into the RPG. You can see he's got that yellow missile on there. So, something a little different from the original one, where all these missiles are identical on the Tiger Force version. They all look exactly the same. And these actually have a few painted in. So we're going to have a look at those missiles. Let's do that right now. So it looks like there's 2 missiles that are indeed identical to each other, and these are they. So these are unpainted missiles, and then a couple other ones that have some details painted onto them. Now this one actually has like a little fanged mouth. I don't know how well you can see that. Let me see if I can get it to function. And it looks it reminds one of Tiger Force. So why didn't Tiger Force have the Tiger Force decal on it? That's strange. And then this one has a yellow warhead with some checkerboard marks around the base of it there. I don't know what the significance of that is, but I do think it's neat that there are some different colors to the missiles and gives it some flavor. So if we compare it to the RPG that came with the original one, you can see that this is a somewhat lighter shade of green. It looks a little bit more apparent to my naked eye than it does on the camera. And I just noticed I'm missing the cap from the end of Tiger Force Bazooka. I didn't notice that before. So it's probably in that box of stuff somewhere. And even if it's not, like I said, I got a second one now, or actually a third one, so I bought a second one for customs. That's what's really weird to me about not being able to find that helmet, too, is that I know I have an extra one. So let's go ahead and put the missiles in the backpack. And again, we can see the backpack is a slightly different color of green from the Tiger Force version, slightly lighter. So I'm going to put this missile over here on this end. And that way I'll have the two plain missiles next to each other. And I'll have a space in there for that yellow missile if I want to put that in the backpack later. But those all fit nicely into the backpack. We're going to put the yellow missile into the RPG so that we can see what that looks like. And of course, like I said, that was how it was illustrated on the package, so that makes sense. And then we can go ahead and get Bazooka himself out of the package. And, you know, it's just these little paper cords that are twisted around here. So I'm going to go and untwist them rather than cut through them, just because it seems like I like the paper cords, so I'm just going to do that. The paper cords, they're much less annoying to me than the rubber tabs. I like them much better. But I guess they don't find them as aesthetically pleasing when it's in a plastic package with a window, I suppose. All right, so there we go. Got Bazooka out of the package. Now, from what I've been told, what I've seen on the internet, is that his skin color does not quite match up with the original one. And like it looks like it matches up to me fairly well, but it's just slightly more ruddy. Maybe that was like a running change or something. But it's not the exact same color, but it's close enough. It's close enough it wouldn't bother me. And that was something with like some of these older ones where like the skin colors would be different on the same character. And I'm just like, did he get a tan or something? Or has he been staying indoors more? Like, what's the deal with that? All right, so let's have a look at his articulation real quick. So Bazooka can look up about that far. He can look down about that far. You can tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, which fits, you know, the character is being portrayed as kind of an idiot on the cartoon show. So he's confused, obviously. He does not have the traditional ab crunch that a lot of these G.I. Joe classified have. He has more of an a torso joint like the 25th anniversary figures. Probably so it doesn't interfere too much with his number on his chest. I mean, it does interfere with it a little bit. It's going to get bisected no matter what, but at least there's not like a hinge down the middle of it as well. He's got that kind of waist articulation, almost like an 80s G.I. Joe figure, but it's not an O-ring, it's a ball in a socket. Bazooka has butterfly joints, so his shoulders move back about that far and move forward about that far. And of course, the arm rotates all the way around to the shoulder, and the arms can raise up about that far, so not a bad range of motion at the arms. Bicep swivel, of course, so the bicep rotates all the way around. Then he's got double jointed elbows, which seem a little stiff, but I got them loose. That's about the range of motion you get at the elbows. Remember, never force your joints. If you can't get it to move through gentle coaxing, apply some heat with like a hair dryer or dip it in some hot water, and that should loosen it up enough. Bazooka can kick up about that far, which is pretty good range of motion considering how thick his thighs are. This is, I believe, from the waist down, a reuse of roadblock. I don't have a roadblock runner somewhere. From the waist down, it's mostly a reuse of roadblock until we get to the boots. The boots are different and completely different arms and torso from roadblock. Although I think it's a similar sculpt, I don't think it's the same sculpt. And of course, they're pinless, unlike Roadblock still has pins. So anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, he has double jointed knees, so that's about the range of motion you get in the knees. Oh, and he does have a thigh cut. I neglected to mention that, so the thigh does rotate all the way around. He has a boot cut, so the boots rotate all the way around. And his ankle can point down about that far. and it can point up. It's a really stiff ankle joint. I got to be careful with it. Like I said, I don't want to force it. Man, why are you so stiff? I got you to move the other way. It can point up about that far. And then, of course, since it's the Hasbro rocker ankles, it rotates all the way around. So really good articulation on the ankles. Excuse me. Ugh. Sorry, a little phlegmy. Oh, and I forgot to mention he's got those drop down hips that GI Joe classifieds tend to have. All right, so let's go ahead and gear him up. So let's go ahead and put the helmet on him. And before we put the helmet on, let's have a look at the head sculpt. And he looks a little bit like Freddie Mercury with the mustache and everything. But I don't think that was intentional. I think that's just what the mustache makes him look like. So let's go ahead and put the helmet on him. There we go. Looks good with the helmet. That definitely makes him look a lot more like what we remember him looking like from the cartoons, is it not? And then, of course, the backpack, which is tradition for Bazooka. Bazooka does not have any backpack straps whatsoever to hold this onto his back. However, you will note that it's got like some metal plating on there. So I'm going to imagine that Bazooka has a magnet that he's wearing underneath his jersey, so that the backpack will adhere to it. So he can't be covering up his jersey, folks. Yeah, you gotta be. He's got to support the team. That's what it's got to be. So, and I do like the colors on the jersey. It's a nice bright red, nice crisp white, and then a rather dark blue. Does look good to me. I'm not an expert in football, and I do know that this is supposed to be a Patriots jersey, and of course the the other one has a white jersey. And the original Tiger Force jersey was not colored like a Patriots jersey, but this one they did color it like a Patriots jersey, so that's good. So it's red, white, and blue like it ought to be. Slightly more orangey sort of red than this one, but still red enough I'd consider it red. At least it's got blue instead of brown. Like I don't know why you all of a sudden became like a Cleveland Browns fan or something. Again, not an expert on football, but I think that's about the right colors for the Browns. I think that the red jersey was the jersey that they wore for training in the off season, as far as the Patriots go. I'll look that up real quick. We'll see if I'm right about that. All right, Patriots jersey colors. All right. So let's see. Images of Patriot jersey colors. Yeah, so there's a red one, and there's a blue one, and there's a white one. And I'm just trying to figure out which ones are the away jerseys or whatever. Colors. It's not really giving me the information that I want. Okay, nautical blue, red, and white. The blue represents depth, trust, and I don't know. Okay, the team has also worn silver jerseys for at least one home game each year. So, but we're all blue in Color Rush games. I just want like favorite jerseys colors. Home versus away. Let's try that. Because now I'm curious about this. And it says in 2020 they revealed new home and away jerseys. But again, I don't know what that would apply to on the in the 80s. Well, anyway, the Patriots have had red jerseys, blue jerseys, and white jerseys. This is a red jersey. So, if there's any football fans in the audience who can clarify that for me, I tried to look it up. I couldn't find it. So let's go ahead and put his RPG in his hand and see how he looks holding that. Which we already had a little bit of a sneak preview of that with the Tiger Force version that I already had here. And it's knocking the cap off the end here. So maybe I'll glue that on. I don't really care if that opens up. But yeah, there's that. So that's pretty cool. And since we now have the classic version of Bazooka out of the package, we absolutely have to have a shot of him with Alpine. So here's these two together, and they were best buds on the cartoon show, shared a lot of scenes together, and they had really good chemistry as characters with, Alpine being more the, wisecracking kind of character, and Bazooka just being kind of like his doofus straight man, I guess. But they look great together, don't they? And like even a little bit of size difference with Bazooka being just a little bit taller than Alpine. See him back to back there. And of course, Bazooka has a backpack, which Alpine sadly does not have a backpack. But I'll see if I can get him a backpack later and make one myself. So anyway, that's pretty much it for Bazooka. I'm glad I finally got around to picking up this figure. I certainly don't regret it at all. Do I like him better than the Tiger Force version? Yeah, maybe a little bit, just because it's the more recognizable version of the character. Also, he has a green helmet, and I like the green helmet better than the red helmet, even though I wish I hadn't lost that red helmet. Hopefully it's somewhere, and I'll find it later, but whatever. I've got that extra one that's still in the package, so I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Bazooka. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm going to take Sunday off like I usually do. Hopefully I can be back on Monday and do an episode. And I think since we got so much DC Universe or DC Multiverse to work through, I think the next one I will open up will be this guy, another athlete. And that's the Sports Master from McFarlane DC Multiverse. So I've been looking forward to opening this guy for a while. So if you want to make sure you don't miss that one, please make sure you like and subscribe. All the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Bazooka, both the figure and the character in general. And we will talk to you next time. Bye.